Hi friends and gardeners, and welcome to Starry Hilder's Back to Eden June tour. This is so awesome. I know. The time went by really fast and I didn't have time to get out my camera and do an update, and I should have done an update. And the reason being is this garden is exploding. It is like a jungle in there. And this is the real odd thing, because in June, usually we don't have this much growth, and the weather in the mountains lately, it has been real, like off the wall strange. We had 3 weeks ago frost warnings, and we had to cover up our plants. We had sheets out. It was like touch and go. People in the valley, they lost plants. You know, those tender plants that you just put in the garden. Well, a lot of people lost their plants because of the frost. And then we went from frost conditions all the way up to 90 degrees. It was really crazy. And then like today, the sun finally came out, but it was like partly cloudy, a little on the chilly side, 67 degrees, really odd. And you know, weather changes like that really put a strain on new gardens. They really do. But here's the secret on Starry Hilder's Off-Grid Homestead. Back to Eden. I swear, the Back to Eden garden method has really helped this garden kind of buck up and say, you know what? I don't care about you weather changes because you're not going to affect me. I'm going to grow no matter what. And that's what our garden has been doing. It has actually been the best early season year so far. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm going to take you in the garden and show you proof in June how big everything is and how productive things have been. So let's get going. Rock bed area, which is all covered with wood chips, as you can see, is a jungle. It's a jungle. The strawberries are they're just producing out of control. We've got all our sunflowers coming up now. I mean, look at this. So I'm gonna do, oh, hang on. I gotta pick here because look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So while I'm looking, but these plants are doing wonderful. Oh, sorry about that, but I gotta, okay, just one more. There's a couple. I missed these this morning. But look how beautiful this produce is. Fresh, organic, green. The whole bed is covered in wood chips. Didn't have to do anything. My pepper plants are doing good in here. I've got my cinder blocks. The herbs are just coming up slowly. These actually went to seed because I can't keep up. But isn't this gorgeous? And then I have to show you, look at this. These are the potato plants. Okay, listen, I'm going to get in here and show you how big and tall these potato plants are. These are real potato plants, people. This is like live action. Hang on. And I wanted to sit in here to really show you how green and lush and big these potato plants are. And the great thing is, this is basically a maintenance-free area. Mr. Hilder hasn't done really much of anything except layer. That's it. And in fact, he's probably needing to layer a little bit more on top of these potato plants because they are growing so fast and he can't keep up. So this is a beautiful method for potatoes. Now remember, he put the potatoes in the soil, and then after that, it was all about the layering. But isn't this gorgeous? I love our potato patch. I kind of feel like a little potato girl. I do. This is kind of cool. I could live here. Okay, so the cabbages are doing really, really well with the Brussels sprouts. And then I've got them intermingled with my beautiful celery. Isn't that gorgeous? Everything is lush and green. And really, when it comes to watering, haven't had to do much of anything to get these beautiful plants to grow. In the middle here, I got nothing going on. So pretty soon I'm going to be planting something. I don't know what. Any suggestions? Just throw it out there. I'm always open. But I threw some broccoli seeds out just a couple of weeks ago. It was a little bit late, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to experiment, and look at that. They're already coming up, and they look so healthy. And again, didn't have to do anything but brush aside the wood chips, get them started in the soil, and then as you can see, I just pushed the wood chips back. In my jungle of tomato plants, and this is really incredible because with the weather extremes and being June, we have seen still phenomenal growth. And you know, tomato plants really do like heat, and they can be a little fickle, but these babies aren't fickle at all. In fact, I'm going to show you how tall. Let me show you, and we'll change the camera angle. Okay, so here I am. Here's my waist, and look at how tall already these tomato plants are. That is incredible. And then, even with the extreme changes in the temperature, we are getting plenty of fruit. Look at this on the vine. And we've got even a couple that are ready to be picked. Now at this point, what you want to do when you start having growth like this is all the suckers on the bottom, and I'm sure all you well-versed gardeners know this, and we haven't gotten to it yet, you're going to have to start taking those suckers and pinching them off so that all that growth goes up into your plant. But isn't that, I mean, that's just gorgeous. Our tomato plants are really phenomenal this year, and so early. I have to show these off. Look at see these beautiful tomato plants, green, lush, vibrant, healthy. These are the ones that we raised in the jar over the winter. This is incredible. Okay, so the jar method was an experiment. And if you don't know what it is, just ask me in the comments and I'll explain. But Starry kind of messed up halfway through the winter, and I kind of killed some. But the ones that survived, incredible, survived all winter long in a jar with water. And then we just simply put them into the ground, and look, they are keeping pace with the other tomato plants. It is incredible. And the great thing about the jar method is, now that we see that it's successful and it works, you probably wouldn't have to ever buy another tomato plant, or maybe even start any tomatoes from seed. Really, I'm serious. It's pretty cool. Can you grow corn in the Back to Eden garden? Of course you can grow corn. Look at this. This is, like I'm saying, friends, this is insane, because this corn is already at least 2 feet tall. 2 feet tall. It's not even July. It is June, and it is doing wonderful. And all Mr. Hilder did was direct sow this, and it just started coming up. But look at that. We're going to have corn, and we didn't have to do anything. I'm excited about the corn because this is our first year plant. And I just kind of know, rule of thumb back in Wisconsin, because Wisconsin is a big corn state, they always say knee-high by July. Well, friends, I'm going to be a betting woman on this and say this is going to be well past knee-high by July. Because look at the growth already. And this is actually one of our thickest areas for the wood chips. And most of it is already decomposed. And I'm just going to show you as I dig down. So it takes a while to get down to the soil, but when I do, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That is gorgeous. Moist, filled with micronutrients, and it's alive. It's alive. I mean, it's alive. So some of the garden area has more cover than others, and this is one, and as you can see, here's the garden bed, and you see how it goes up. So there is a lot of wood chip layers here, but you will also see when you start using the Back to Eden garden method, the beauty of doing it right on the ground, the earth level, is that these layers will start decomposing and create that soil. And you know, pretty soon, like with our garden, we've got stuff that just kind of pops up and grows out of out of nowhere, because that's what you want. You want the whole garden floor to be layered and creating soil. In fact, let's see if we can walk over here. Oh yeah, here. In fact, if you see the edges here, so let me just take you over here and show you some of our rogue plants. This is the edge of our garden, and you can see this is what we have. That's it. That is just bad, disgusting, terrible. Not soil, clay. But where the garden begins with the wood chips, we have. I think Mr. Hitler just threw out some potato plants. He didn't even bury them. He just threw them out. They must have been left over. And look, they're just popping up. And then if you come over here, look at, there's more. They just pop up stuff. Like if you drop a seed, or because most of the stuff is open pollinating, you know, stuff blows around and seeds get tossed around. You know, it's nature. And I've got plants all over the garden floor that we didn't necessarily plant. And what ends up happening when you stick with the Back to Eden method and you don't contain your garden to raised beds or some type of bedding area, you will create a whole landscape of edible food with beautiful, rich soil. Now, to our homestead, as I said before, we had horrible clay, and we really needed to get the garden going because, you know, we wanted a garden. We wanted to fill up the pantry. We needed food. So we went with the raised bed method. We bought all these cinder blocks, and, you know, it was a lot of work, but that's how we got our garden going. And then we started layering with the wood chips. We had aged wood chips, and it worked out so well. That very first year, we had explosive growth and explosive production with all of our vegetables, no failure. But what we noticed was that first year, as we layered and things started growing, it's like the raised bed method was really constraining the soil and the growth of the soil. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but you have to visualize when you use the Back to Eden garden method. The purpose is to layer and reflect nature, to mimic nature. Nature cannot be held in a raised bed. It just doesn't make any sense for this method. So for us, that first year it worked, but as we started layering and soil started being created, we outgrew the raised beds. And you will find that that's what's going to happen. You're going to outgrow it. And what's going to happen is you're going to tear down those raised beds because you want edible landscape. And that's what the Back to Eden garden method will produce. Edible landscape. And pretty soon you will see rogue stuff growing, and your little walkways where you try to contain the plants ain't going to be there anymore. It's just going to do what nature does. Things are going to grow. Now it's time for Starry Hilder's pepper cam. You remember the pepper cam? Well, I'll tell you what, this is incredible because look at how small the plants are. They haven't even had a chance to grow, really, because it's only June. It hasn't been that hot. We've had frost warnings, and here is the plastic to prove it, and the hoops are still up. But look at, how can that be? How can Starry Hilder have peppers on her pepper plants? Look at that. I'm just gonna, and these are the ones that we overwintered. So we're still waiting for these to flower, but they're looking good. But look at how tiny the plants are, and they are producing, they're producing peppers. Okay, why? Why are they producing peppers? Well, again, Back to Eden with the layering. This layering method helps insulate the plants. So, not only does it help with water retention and weeding and pest control and all that, but when it is really cold, these plants are protected. And that is why I can have produce on my pepper plants when it hasn't been 90 degrees or 80 degrees for a sustainable period of time. In fact, it's been all over the place. So it is incredible, and the method really does help with issues of frost and keeping that growth going. One last area. I mean, there's produce all over this garden. I mean, we just carve it into the earth, and we're like, we throw out the wood chips, and you know, this used to even be a lawn area, and we thought, you know what, we don't need lawn. We need wood chips, and we need garden. And look at this. These are I think these are cucumbers and squash, and we're already getting I gotta go show Mr. Hilder. We already have a zucchini. I can't believe this is really, people, this is live, because this is our first zucchini. I can't believe it. This is cool. Oh wow, I can't believe it. Wow, I was actually having pumpkin envy the other day because a friend at work was showing me her garden, and it's a beautiful garden, and she had some really big pumpkin plants. These pumpkin plants, when I got home the other day and I looked at my pumpkin plants, and when I looked at everything, I'm thinking, our garden is like 2 feet taller than everybody else's right now. It's weird. It's incredible. But really, these are at least 3 feet tall. And it's only June. Because we're always showing you, friends, the Back to Eden garden method. But if you come to my homestead, like you are now, and you visit, you will find it's a jungle. And you look at everything, and a lot of people think, oh, you know, it's a jungle, and there's flowers here, and there's wild grasses here, intermingled with different types of flowers. I mean, look at that. Even where we walk, there is wild clover, and there's bees, and there's butterflies. And some people will come and say, oh, you know, we don't really plant flowers, and we like to cut, you know, the grasses down. In order for us to sustain ourselves, we wanted to create an environment that really did reflect nature. So, yeah, Back to Eden garden method, but we also use permaculture. And permaculture has allowed us to create a living environment that is sustainable, and it helps with erosion control and moisture and water retention, and it creates an environment that brings in, as you just saw, the bees and the butterflies and the birds and all the little wild insects that serve a purpose. They serve a purpose. And if it wasn't for permaculture, I think we would not be as successful as we are now. So throughout our homestead, you will see plants that have medicinal purposes. You will see grasses in areas where there used to be a lot of erosion. And I mean, it all serves a purpose. We have a wide variety of vegetation here, and if you look closely with a microscope, you will begin to discover that Starry Hilder's homestead goes a little bit deeper than just the Back to Eden garden. Okay, that's the update. I wanted to end on that, just to kind of plant the seed about permaculture to you friends who are really looking at self-sustainability, and just don't focus on the garden. Focus on creating a holistic environment, because the Back to Eden garden will work for you, but if you incorporate permaculture, it will create a successful, wild, organic, productive, I mean, it'll create an environment that will feed your soul and your belly.